Okay, so we're talking about personality. We've gone through the introduction, where the definition of personality is basically, we're going to talk about a little bit, basically a set of characteristics of behavior. So it means that behavior is set, or you can say stable, which is the same thing. So right now I'm just talking, the meaning should be the same, maybe the words will be a little bit different. But they're set. Set means they don't change. Stable means they don't change. But really, they can change a little bit, but they don't change much. They stay the same for all of your life. There's characteristics of behavior. And these characteristics of behavior come from two basic sources. One is biology, and one is learning. Things that you don't learn, that you do, that your behavior comes from physiological and biological aspects of your body, of your person. So we talk a lot about that. I've given you many, many examples. So you should be able to explain that. It's according to the book, just to make sure that if you need to put this on a test, I highly suggest that you don't give your opinion, and it has to be correct 100%, but I highly suggest that you learn the definition. Just learn the definition and write it on the test, in the midterm. Personality is a broad and comprehensive concept. So the first thing, we're talking about personality, we're talking about a construct or a concept. And this is a concept also. We build all of our concepts. So all concepts, in a sense, are a construct. Some concepts are simple, and like red is a color, but it's also a concept. And it's only one element, so it's not complex, and you don't have to construct it. All of these things work together to organize behavior. So your body and your learning work together to organize your sense of meaning, understanding in the world, and it gives you a unique adjustment to your environment. Okay? So these concepts are important in this talking about personality. Not just defining it, but as you go through the biological aspects and the learning aspects, they all relate back to this idea. So all of the things that you learn, your behavior is designed to be organized through your body and your learning. Learning is also social. And through our learning, we learn how to adapt to our environment. So all of these things are constructed together to equal personality. Okay? So what we talked about so far, we talked a little bit about everything, but in biology, you have 3 different elements that affect the way you're going to behave. And one of them is genetics. And these genetics are genes that carry characteristics that you get from your parents that affect your behavior. We talked about 3 different kinds of characteristics. genetics, physical appearance, the way you look, and your physique. You shouldn't have to write this down again, but you should have it, and it's in your book. So your genetics, your physical appearance, and your rate of development. So this is how fast you grow. I'm going to use the word maturation, because maturation is a little different, it's a little more scientific maybe, but this is the way your body develops together. It's not the simple development like developing a skill to walk, ability to walk. It's all everything developing together. When you learn to walk, your brain's also bigger than it was 2 or 3 months before. So everything is, you're maturing, becoming a mature person. Okay, so now there's aspects to genetics too that are important. Disposition. Disposition. I'm getting my reference here. Activity level, behavior is dispositional. One example is activity level. So try to listen if you can, okay? Getting cold. Activity level, curiosity, and sociability. Social ability. All of these are considered to be genetic because they're present at birth. When they're present at birth, they also can be called innate. Innate means present at birth. So when it's present at birth, it also means you didn't learn it. How could you learn it? So that we consider these ideas to be dispositional. Part of your disposition. It's part of your body, just like your hair is dark or your eyes are blue. It has a characteristic inside your genetic makeup that has a determination on the level. But remember that these activity level, curiosity level. Level is an important word here because it qualifies the intensity of this characteristic. You do not have the idea that some people are not sociable at all. It's just some people are more sociable than others. And you can watch babies and you can categorize them by their social behavior to approach or to avoid. This over time. So intensity, level here and the idea of intensity has a similar meaning. And so you can be highly sociable or less sociable. Highly curious or less curious. But it'd be very rare that somebody would be not curious at all. In fact, if you would find somebody not curious, it would fall into the category we talked about maybe genetic disorders. So there are genetic diseases that people can inherit from their parents. Maybe it's not their parents. Maybe their parents doesn't have it. But if you understand how the genes and the chromosomes carry characteristics, then you may inherit it from your grandparents or your great-grandparents. Or maybe nobody had it, but a recessive gene in one ancestor connected somewhere and produce a genetic disease in which there's no genetic disease for no curiosity. I don't know, maybe there is, but we don't know about it. There are diseases like color blindness, people who cannot see red and green, or they see color, but it's not the same colors that we see. So sometimes people have a problem driving, they can't read the red light or the yellow light. They see the color to be different. So these are genetic disorders, and they can change our dispositions. Okay. Oops. Okay. Well, we're reviewing right now, so we really don't need to go back to the PowerPoint. Everybody has a copy of the first PowerPoint? No, huh? Well, let's see if we can find a copy. Okay. Actually, there's two PowerPoints. We did an introduction, but we did the definition. That's in your book. It shouldn't be too difficult to find the answers. So we also talked about biological aspects, appearance and physical development was where we developed that. Let's go back through. Go backwards. Okay, this is the PowerPoint we'll give you a copy of. Genetics, which we just did, influences of physical appearance and physique. We talked about that. And the basic idea here is that people's personality are affected by their physique in several different ways. But one of the ways is that attractively, strongly built individuals experience social prestige and success and become more socially self-confident and socially successful. Students. What happened? I don't know. So this is the general principle. It's like this. It's a natural thing. Appearance has an effect on people's life and their social life. To be socially successful means to be outgoing, self-confident. But this is not the only thing that determines your success and your personality. There are other things. In fact, even with your body, you can physically alter the shape of your body, and it's done all the time. And today, more than ever, athletes use steroids to build their bodies big. And when they do this, they get recognition. They get their pictures in the paper, they run races, they may be a fast runner or an athlete, triathlon. Students, I don't know what you're talking about. If you want to speak, you can stand up and speak. It's no problem. There's no reason why you should interrupt me. You can speak and say anything you want to say. But not when I'm talking, okay? I don't mind stopping to let you speak. Except for Miss Irene. You can't talk at all. That's because you're such a good girl. There's other factors that affect your social acceptance, and therefore gives every person an opportunity to receive acceptance in society. And these are intelligence, your ability to understand the environment, the situation, make good success in school, good grades, and your family environment. The sense of your family environment follows the idea that we learn about our authority and how to deal with social elements in our environment through our parents and the way our family relates. So if your parent is an authority, a high authority figure, and he maybe uses force, then you may develop certain characteristics in the early stages. Remember, we're talking about learning. You would learn these things. Now, this is not biological, but it is other social factors that contribute to your development in social personality. But intelligence is considered to be highly biological. And there's a lot of controversy about this. Some people disagree. And there is characteristics of people that can learn, but usually the biological aspect of intelligence is a limiting factor in the sense that you can learn, everybody can learn so much to a certain degree, but the degree they learn to is similar to this level of intensity, as intelligence works the same way. It's very difficult to go beyond. You can go beyond these abilities by involving a sense of compensation. But that's another story besides personality. And so you're not limited 100%. But family environment is another factor in social success, which determines a lot of your personality characteristics. Now, we did the survey already, but we have to go back to this point because I didn't finish the lecture. Maturity and maturation is the word I've used already. It's a development of characteristics that give a person a sense of being older than they are. So we're talking about the next aspect here is rate of maturation. Some people reach different levels of maturing at different ages. Now, it's still very close, you know. So puberty still comes around 13, maybe 14 would be late, 12 would be early. Things are affecting the rate of development in modern society because we drink more milk. We drink milk that has chemicals in it. There's chemicals in our food. We have genetic organisms that we eat, that we make our vegetables from. Farming is different. So the food we have today is different than it was 50 years ago. Very different. And it's affecting a lot of things. One of the things, and I think it's mostly in girls, that they reach puberty early. But maybe not much, maybe just 6 months or 8 months, but it's enough to know the difference. And so when this happens, what happens to your body is your chemicals work different. Your body is maturing. Physiological aspects of the way your body works is changing. And your behavior changes. Your thoughts change. Your feelings change. Hormones affect your feelings. So as these things change your body, it's going to change the way you behave and how you solve problems. And during those times can affect your unique adjustment to the environment. So these all play a part in your maturation process. Some children develop more quickly than others. Now this is even in early stages. They become mature and have characteristics of older children at a younger age. Children who develop quickly experience advantages. Advantage means that they have some better opportunity. I mentioned this last week, or I mentioned Monday or whatever, when we had a class. Children, like especially young boys, is considered to be positive if the young boy looks older when they're at a younger age, because adults, like the coach on the football team, or people that they work with, or their family, or their neighbors, they see them as an older person and they treat them that way. They give them more responsibility. They ask for their help. Well, little boys are anxious to get involved and do this kind of work, and so they reach a social benefit, but it is based on their physiology. It's not because of any social thing, it's because of their development. Children who develop more slowly, who take a longer time, appear younger than they actually are. So they wouldn't get that same advantage. They would lose that advantage. Early maturing males are considered to be more grown up. So there's a phrase, it's a verbal phrase, grow up. This is grown up. We have the past participle form, grown up. That's for your English point today. Socially and emotionally. So when you look older and you mature older and your body's processing differently, you are older. For all of that, they would call you have a physical age and a maturity age. You can write it that way. I've seen something like that. It's not, they don't tell you about this in the book. But if your physical age is 12, but your maturity age is 13, now when they give you tests in high school, the ONET test, and then in Matheon, they measure certain aspects of your maturity. So, and people can observe maturity in students' behavior. So, nobody's taking data unless they're doing research right now. But this data has been collected on every person, every student in Thailand. People whose physical age is young but maturity age is high is considered to be a quick developer. And they're considered to be more mature and more capable of playing an adult role. And they usually can, because what's expected of you is kind of a communication that, hey, it's okay, you know. You can drive the car, go ahead. You must be at least 19 years old, but they're only 12. You know? But people don't know, you know, so these kids get away with a lot of things, and it's good for them, but it's not for everybody. Young boys who develop slow appear younger than their age. This often affects their social relations also, but maybe in a more negative way. Maybe they find it more difficult to approach the opposite sex, girls too. A more mature girl would find it less anxiety in being closer to persons of the opposite sex. Whereas younger, and you remember when you were 10 years old or something, giggling around the little boys and the little girls. But these are behaviors that are preparing you for your own unique adjustments to your social life. But slower developers would be considered to show signs of more slower development, maybe poor development. So parents, teachers should be able to understand these aspects of their students and their children's life and help them through these periods. Later maturing children report feeling more negative about themselves and inadequacy and rejection, being rejected, fear of rejection, and dependent and more rebellious. So they have more internal conflicts also. So these are late maturing. Okay, so this finishes the part on biological, the information I want to give you. You should have your notes. I'm going to give you a copy of this PowerPoint. You should have your notes. And this goes in the book from the very first page through page 61. On 61 at the bottom of the page is the next section we're going to talk about, called Cultural Determinants of Personality. So you be prepared for that next week. right now, we're going to do an exercise, an activity. So I want you to work in pairs only. 2 people. 2 people to work these problems. Okay, this is on biological determinants of personality, learning activity number 1. On an A4 sheet of paper, write in ink an answer to all the following items. I'm going to give them to you one at a time. You're going to have approximately 15 minutes to do each item. We're a little bit early, but you can take a break. In 10 minutes, you can take a break. I want you to get started now. I want you to work in pairs and in pairs only. So you will use one A4 sheet and write 2 names on it, and that's how you're going to get your grade. Now remember, this is 30% of your grade for the full course. So this is an important activity. You can use your book. You can use your book. And this is the assignment for the class. So listen carefully. Define and explain biological influence on personality and development. So this is where we are, biological influence. I want you to write a good, you've got 2 people to do it. I want you to write a good defined definition and explanation. A4 sheet of paper. Okay, slide number 1. Define and explain. Students, one group has two students. It's all written up here. Students can work in pairs only. If you want to do it by yourself, you can. That's no problem. Okay. I don't know what the problem is, but you got to get together with one other person. I want you to do that now. No. That's not the right answer. That's not the right answer. The right answer is stand up and move 2 people. I want 2 people here, 2 people here, 2 people here, working together. Or would you rather work alone? You'd rather do the combination? People are yeah, there's no reason to do 3. Yeah, this is only one question. This first slide is question number 1. Define and explain the biological influence on personality development and include 1, genetic influence. Define what is genetic influence and how does it affect personality development. How does it influence personality? Now, we just reviewed it today. We just reviewed it. It's in your book. Yeah. Yes, you can. Don't fold it until you finish. Wait till you finish. Before you give it to me, you fold it. Write your name on 2 names. And only 2 names. So I don't want 3 people working on paper. Just 2. Just 2. Temperament, disposition, physical appearance, grade, maturation. Get started. Okay, no. The lecture's finished. We're gonna do an activity. Gina was number 2. I don't know what's the matter. Listen, Miss DQ Akira, you talk too much. Yes. Every time I look at you, you're talking to somebody, and then you don't know what I said. So listen to me, okay? Okay? This is number 2. Number 1 is finished. You took 15 minutes, and now you can stop working on number 1. That's number 1. Okay? Model. Number 2. Genetic influence. What's so hard about this? I think you understand. Answer. Write something right here that explains what I said. This is a simple activity. You have a book to use to find your answer. Eyes with another person. Y group by model. Y group by model. Disappeared. Y crew จริงใจหรือเปล่า Yes, I've been some people. Another name or another word that describes disposition is. Don't listen. You're in the wrong group. Don't. You stay in your own group. You know. I want you thinking. I don't want to read these papers and they all look the same. Next time we'll have to do it like a test. This is supposed to be an activity, a learning activity, cognitive processing. This idea expresses the idea that our behavior and moods are predetermined by our physical bodies. The idea we're talking about. Gosh, students. This explains 3 dispositional behaviors that can be observed in babies. Listen, if y'all talking out of your group and I've got a picture, I'm going to be marking y'all 50 points away. I'm going to take points away from you.